Airport people, man. What's up, everybody? I'm Tara Wellman. This is Bird Seeds, and much like the Cardinals, I am not starting the second half of the season at home. No, this is not my redecorated home office. I am, in fact, at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, headed out for a much anticipated vacation that I poorly timed to just miss the All-Star break. But what are you gonna do? So today is Friday. The Cardinals will kick off the second half with the Pirates tonight, but you won't be seeing this till Monday. So we're not going to talk a whole lot about what the Cardinals are going to do this weekend, because I'm not real good at predictions. But I did want to talk a little bit about what I'm looking forward to in the second half from the Cardinals. So as I travel throughout the day, here are 5 things I'm most looking forward to in the second half of the year. Number 1, I'm looking forward to seeing what the vision is for this team. And by that I mean, one of the most frustrating things about the first half is trying to figure out whether the Cardinals are going to compete this year or if they're going to set themselves up for next year or the year after. I think we got clarity as far as what the Chicago White Sox are doing, and with the Chicago Cubs making a big trade, there's a push for the Cardinals to either match up or say, we're done this year and move on and prep for the next couple of seasons. I think what I'm looking forward to in the second half as much as anything is kind of getting clarity on who this team is going to be and what we can expect, whether it's to compete this year or to set themselves up for a run in the next couple of seasons. That actually leads me to the second thing I'm looking forward to, and that is clarity for some individual players. Clarity for Randal Grichuk on what his future may or may not be with the St. Louis Cardinals. Clarity for Aledmys Diaz, who's struggled not only at the major league level, but now at the minor league level as well. And maybe even some clarity for someone like Lance Lynn about what he can expect from the organization. I think one thing we've seen in the last several years is that communication tends to be a bit of a problem between the front office and the decisions that they make and the players whom those decisions affect. So I would like to see in the second half of the year just a bit of clarity for some of these individual players so that they're not caught in the balance while the organization tries to figure out what it's doing. My flight's about to board, so I'll give you one more thing before I get on the plane, and the others will come somewhere else along the day. So the third thing I'm looking forward to the most in the second half of the season for the Cardinals is Carlos Martinez. All of Carlos Martinez all the time. I mean, if you saw him in the All-Star game, you clearly saw what he's capable of from the mound. But if you saw him after the All-Star game, you saw what Carlos Martinez is capable of as a person. I said it on Twitter the other day, and I'll say it again. Find me a guy with a bigger heart. I mean, I know there are guys on that team who do a lot in a lot of different communities, but I'm just continuously impressed and enamored with the person that Carlos Martinez is, because he can go from this guy who's silly and funny and goofy and doing his Matt Carpenter batting stance, which is one of the most funny things I've ever seen in my life, to a guy who's so consumed with giving back to people who were in his shoes, people who are in the situation that he was in before baseball gave him this platform. Carlos Martinez spent the rest of his All-Star break in the Dominican, handing out backpacks to children whose eyes lit up when they got a bag of pens and pencils for school. I mean, that's the kind of guy that I want on my team, not just because he can throw 101 miles an hour, but because he's as focused about making a difference in the lives of children that are like he was when he was a kid, as he is on making a difference for the St. Louis Cardinals as a baseball player. So I'm thrilled to have Carlos Martinez on the team that I watch, and I can't wait to see what he does in the second half, both on the field and off. All right, guys, I made it to my destination. I wanted to add one other thing to the Carlos Martinez story real quick, and that is to give a huge shout out to Joe Schwartz, aka STL Cup of Joe on the Twitter, and some of his friends and compatriots for kickstarting what turned into a really cool Twitter event during the All-Star game, and that is the donation campaign that was hashtag 102 for 102 in honor of the potential for Carlos Martinez to throw 102 miles an hour in that game. Now, the idea was if he hit 102 while he was pitching in the All-Star game, a bunch of us were going to donate $102 to the Tsunami Waves Foundation. He didn't quite get to 102, but we decided it was close enough. And there were a bunch of people who jumped in as well. And then what was really special was that this thing that started out as a handful of people who had a Twitter conversation about doing this cool thing snowballed into this amazing social media campaign that raised over $4,000 in one night. And that number might have eclipsed 5,000 at this point. If you didn't get a chance to get in on that during the All-Star game, don't feel like you can't now. Follow Tsunami Waves on Twitter. I'll link to their website in the description box below. Make sure you check it out and follow what they're doing, because really this is what I'm talking about with Carlos Martinez. I mean, he inspired fans, and then we inspired each other to do something so much bigger than baseball and so much bigger than any one of us could have done on our own. So that is the message. That is what's special, and that is what I think is so great about Cardinals fans, baseball fans, sports fans, and people who can unite around something bigger than the game itself. Okay, now for the fourth thing that I'm looking forward to in the second half, and this one is kind of a two-parter. Basically, it could go one of two ways, depending on the answer to number one of this video, and that is what the organization decides to do going forward. See, if they decide to kind of let this season be what it is and set themselves up for a run down the road, that's exciting to me, because I think we're going to get to see some really exciting young talent. Now, I've kind of knocked the farm system in the recent past as maybe not being quite as talented and as stocked as it has been in the past, but there's some really exciting young players, whether it's Magneuris Sierra, who we saw a glimpse of early in the season, or Harrison Bader, or Jeff Flaherty, or some of the other pitchers at the Memphis level right now. There are a lot of guys that I think will get a chance if the Cardinals decide to hold off on going all in and set themselves up for a deep run a year or 2 years from now. And those guys will be exciting to watch, even if they're maybe not the kind of top-level prospects that would bring a huge return in a trade. The second part of that is that if the Cardinals decide to compete this year, I'm excited to see who they go out and get. Look, I don't think the Cardinals are going to go out and trade for Giancarlo Stanton, but would I love for that to be the case? Yeah. I talked several weeks ago about how I can't get away from being invested in this team, whether they're winning or not. And these are two reasons why, because even in a down year, there are exciting possibilities, either of the new guy that's going to come in and bring a fresh level of excitement, or because of the young guys who can come in and do the same thing. Number 5 is kind of cheesy, and you might think it's lame, but I'm excited about the second half of the season because of you. You guys that watch this and respond and turn it into conversations on Twitter are the reason that I'm flying around the country today, recording videos with people all around me, looking at me funny. So I'm looking forward to the second half of the season to try to engage more with you and to continue the conversations that are pretty one-sided when I'm by myself in an airport, but are a lot of fun once you guys get the content and the conversation can flow. And that concludes the first episode of Birdseeds on the Road, or in the air, rather, although you were never actually in traveling with birdseeds. I gotta go make sure nobody takes my bag, grab a quick Uber, and get on with my vacation. So if I don't talk to you before next week, have a great one. Enjoy the second half of the season. Leave a comment below to tell me what you're most looking forward to in Phase 2 of the 2017 Cardinals season. And if you like this video or any of the others you've seen, go ahead and give me that little thumbs up, because that lets YouTube know that you like it too. We'll see you next time on Birdseeds.
If you missed last week's episode, go ahead and click right here.
to go straight there. And if you want to make sure that you never miss an episode of Bird Seeds, click subscribe.